Another Ants on a Rock video. Welcome to the Ant Corner. Hey there ant fans, this episode's about my Myrmica, Rubra and my Phildolie colonies. First off, we're going to start with my Phildolie colony. Now, I've got some bad, sad news. The queen is dead. It's a real shame because I was really excited because we had our first nanitics not long ago. But checking in on a feed-in this week, the queen is definitely dead. I did actually suspect this about a week or two ago, but I wasn't 100% sure. But now she is definitely dead. Which is a shame, as you can see the nanitic is still running about. So I may euthanize it by putting it in the freezer, or I may just let it live out its days with nice bits of food, all on its own. But that's not very fun for ants either, so I'll probably just euthanize it, to be honest. Let me know in the comments if you think that's right to do. Moving on to my Myrmica Rubra. This first colony is still an unnamed colony. It is the one I got from Best Ants UK. They're doing really well. I'll show you in the nest in a second. They have these two outworlds attached to vinyl tubing, which gives them the foundation nest here. And they're filling it out quite well, slowly and surely. And like I say, we come back this way, and on the other side we have the water test tube. And that is their full setup. Looking into the nest, you can see they've got quite a few eggs and larvae being carried about by different workers. Quite a few workers in there now as well. The colony's doing really well. Again, this is Myrmica Rubra, the European fire ant, so they do have a slight sting to them, but I'm not too worried about it when I deal with them, as they seem to be quite tame, and they don't really go for me when I do put my fingers in to feed them. I expect after the time that I've had them and the regularity of feeding, they're getting quite used to me now. If you can think of a name for this colony, please do leave it in the comments below, because they're going to need a name now they're official colony on the channel. This will help me tell them apart from my other two Myrmica Rubra colonies, which already do have names, so it's kind of unfair that the best colony doesn't have a name. Anyways, moving on to the next one. This next colony is known as the Shaolin. They have been in this natural setup for a few weeks now. They started nesting underneath this large rock. I feed them regularly, I water it, and they seem to be doing everything they need to do. I haven't looked under the rock to see if they're laying any eggs, but all hopes and fingers crossed that they're going to make a comeback, as they weren't laying any eggs in the nest that I had provided for them in the past. And moving on to my last colony of Myrmica Rubra, this is the Red Army. This is what was doing an amazing colony until they had a massive die-off months and months ago, and they went down to just 3 workers and the queen. At that point I stuck them in this tubs and tubes setup, and they seemed to do really well, using the sand to create a nice little barrier at the front of their tube to make them feel safe. Now the water in this test tube is starting to run a bit dry, so as you can see I've stuck in a second test tube. I expect they'll start to use this in a few weeks when the water's completely ran out. Until then, it's just going to sit there empty and happy, waiting for them to move in. There's a few dead fruit flies about and whatnot, but that's just a good sign that they've been eaten. So again, I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that they're making a bit of a comeback, laying more eggs, and everything will be fine. And that's all for this episode. Tune in on Wednesday to see my next episode on my massive multi-species vivarium. As you can see, it's really overgrown and the ants have started to escape, so I'm going to start to tackle that. So tune in Wednesday and you can see that video too. If you haven't pressed that subscribe button, feel free to press it now. And as always, see you again ant fans.